Hi guys! For today I have prepared a Christmas art journal page, but this time beside giving you some inspiration, I also decided to show on camera some mistakes that I make and ways to go around it. So I hope you will have some fun watching at my messy crafty session. This time I decided to work on a page from a perfect size journal from Art by Marlene, and the idea was to combine some older and newer stamp sets from Signature Collection and some Christmas stamp sets. This gorgeous unicorn is from the Unicorn Dream stamp set, and this cute Christmas elf comes from the Christmas Snowglobe stamp set. Now, I didn't want these two images to stand just like that next to each other, because I thought it would look more natural if they are overlapping a bit. So, here you can see I'm using a piece of masking tape to mask the legs of the unicorn, because that's the area where these two images will overlap. Now I will fussy cut the unicorn legs, and then using stamping platform I will stamp the Christmas elf. Of course, the other way to work around this is to stamp the images separately on a different piece of paper, color them, fussy cut them, and then adhere them to your already made background. And to be honest, mostly I tend to work that way. I just thought to do it this way this time for fun. For stamping, I was using a VersaFine ink because it is perfect for using with watercolors, and that's the medium that I have planned to use for my background. Now that the focal images were stamped, and as I told I plan to use watercolors for the background, I wanted to add some snowflakes. My snowflakes are from Christmas Tree stamp set, and I planned to heat emboss them using VersaMark ink pad and silver pearl embossing powder. This can be done two ways. Either, like in my case, first do the heat embossing before coloring the background, and the heat embossed areas will work as resist areas for the color, so they will stay transparent, or in this case a silver pearl color. But the other way is to create your background and then do heat embossing, but then I would rather recommend using some really opaque white color for creating the snowflakes. Here I will try to catch the light so you can see my snowflakes. It's basically white on white, so it can't be seen much. But now I will try to emboss my sentiment and make my first mistake for this art journal page. Anyway, I will take the word Christmas from this Christmas tree stamp set, and the word dream from the Unicorn Dream stamp set. And that's just to show you how you can combine the words from different stamp sets to create your own sentiments. And mine will be Christmas Dream. Now I know I said this is where I will make my first mistake, but it's actually my first two mistakes. First, the upper sentiment is saying Christmas time. The better way to solve this was to cut out the word time, but instead I use the masking tape. That is good because I will stamp only the word Christmas, but somehow, and honestly I have no idea why, the word time was stamped as well. You will mostly see the effect of that when I start coloring my background. Now it can't be seen at all, and here is where I make my second mistake. Instead of choosing a clear embossing powder, I chose this silver pearl embossing powder that I already used for snowflakes. So my sentiment won't be that bright and shiny black color. Instead, it will be like, oh, I don't know, really weird color. Like silver, shiny black or something. I really don't know. It was actually really disappointing result. But later on I will show you how I will fix that. Here you can see my not so satisfactory sentiment. Anyway, before I go about fixing my page, I started preparing water. Here are Art by Marlene watercolor brushes, and of course her new watercolor palette. And here is where I will make my third mistake. Now, this mistake might not be obvious for you, but it is in my head. So what I will tell you is that sometimes it pays off to think through the ways you will color your page and not rush like me. As originally I thought to make the page background full blue, going from darker to brighter blue. But then I changed my mind, I add some purple, so my page looks like the light is directed in the middle, as the lower portion will be darker, then going towards brighter, then brighter purple, darker purple. It was a mess, honestly. Though at the end I just decided to accept it as it is. It's all just really enjoying your art supplies, relaxing, so I won't take this too seriously and I will try to focus on the process, not the result. Though, to be honest, the result wasn't really disappointing at the end. I hope you will agree with that though. When I was just a beginner at mixed media and art journaling, I used to get really frustrated about some small mistakes like this that I made. But then, if you think about it, that's just not the point of art journaling. Life is full of stress and difficult times, so we all should use art as an escape from stress and try to enjoy the process, enjoy relaxing, and finally you can also take it as a lesson and do better next time. Anyway, here I'm trying to show you how I was coloring my background. In truth, this process lasted very long and I don't want to bore you with it, as it is really not anything complicated. I'm not doing any fancy techniques. It is just layering watercolors. So I will fast forward through most of it, though I will still show you a couple of details from the coloring process. Here paper already started to have enough of me layering and adding more watercolor, so I will stop here, dry my page and go on to color my focal images. For coloring the images I will use colored pencils. These are Prismas, but of course you work with whatever you have. I chose to color with colored pencils instead of watercolors, only because I find myself to be more skilled with pencils than with watercolors. Anyway, again, I will show you just a part of my coloring process because it also lasted really long. If you want to know more about coloring, I have a video where I show you a couple of fun coloring mediums and techniques that you can use in mixed media. I will leave the link for it down below in the description area. I know I keep referring to this video, but I think it's really useful for all beginners out there, because I show multiple ways to color images, and then you can find the medium which is best for you and easiest to manage. Anyway, back to my project. As you might have noticed, I started with the darker shades of purple to mark the areas where I expect shadows to be, and then I am slowly switching between I think 4 different pencils, building towards brightest shades. For blending the colors, you can use either colorless blender You can blend it with white pencil, with the brightest shades of those colors that you have used. Or, as I will do it for this particular image, use odorless mineral spirit and the blending stamp. I mostly choose to use this method because it leaves you option to layer more colors if needed and doesn't leave that waxy feeling. Also, I really don't know if you have noticed, at the beginning I told you about the mistakes which I made when stamping my sentiment. Here, when I colored my background, hopefully you can notice that the word time is still somehow visible. I didn't use any ink on it. I don't know, is that just remains of the inks that you have used before, or why that happened at all? But honestly, it was really annoying me. I was trying to layer watercolor on it, but same as snowflakes, somehow it worked as a color resist and it just persisted there. If you know why this happened, please tell me in the comment section down below, because I am honestly curious. Anyway, here is how the page looks after coloring the focal images. But now this area where they are was supposed to be snow, but it doesn't look much like snow, right? So I decided to use Distress Oxide in a tumbled glass color and a makeup brush to add a little bit of shadow and to add some more dimension to my snow. Here it's important to be very light with your colors, but if the mistake happens, as you know, Distress Oxides are water reactive inks and you can remove the extra color by using simple water. And hopefully, as you can see, sometimes just a little touch of color, it can help the image look so much better. Anyway, time to fix my annoying sentiment. One idea that I had was to use my Posca pen in black color and go all over the sentiment. Now, while this wasn't the perfect solution and certainly wasn't how I imagined it to go, it still really helped a lot the whole sentiment to pop up and look much better. But that word time was still annoying me. So I decided to add some more Distress Oxides. For edge of my paper, I added chipped sapphire color. But of course, I will blend it in with some brighter shades, like this wilted violet. And now it was time for my next mistake. I went heavy-handed with my ink, and that left me with this splotch. At this point I was really getting irritated, but never mind, I took a wet tissue and tried to lift some color. The result wasn't as I imagined it, but fine, it happens. And now with lighter hand, I was repeatedly going over my time word. It did help a bit, though still visibly there, annoyingly there, but it is as it is this time. Later on, I will add one more tiny detail to help it push more in the background. It will be better, but if you pay attention, it can still be found on the page. Anyway, Christmas page can't go without some glitter. I am adding art by Marlene Glamour Glitter in diamond color. I will go over the unicorn's horn, these fluffy areas on the hat of the elf, and then add some more snowflakes, tiny snowflakes. Again, this was that final detail which I used to push the word time into background, and as I mentioned, it will help a bit. And that's about it for this project. I hope my mistakes can help you a bit to avoid your own mistakes in such manner. But even more, I hope I inspired you to make your own Christmassy pages or cards. Wish you all a beautiful and crafty day and see you soon. Bye!